"That's not my son's child," said the billionaire's parent. 4 years later, he saw twins who looked like him. The crisp autumn air carried the scent of caramel apples and fallen leaves across the Greenwich Fall Festival. Ryan Montgomery knelt to steady a small boy who had nearly tumbled while chasing a golden retriever puppy. His laughter died in his throat as the child looked up at him with a smile. There it was, unmistakable, the Montgomery dimple. The same distinctive indentation in the left cheek that appeared in every childhood photo of Ryan hanging in his mother's hallway. "Thanks, mister," the little boy said, his piercing blue eyes, Ryan's eyes, sparkling with excitement. A little girl, clearly the boy's twin, ran up beside him. "Ethan, you almost caught him," she exclaimed, the same dimple flashing as she smiled. Ryan couldn't breathe, couldn't move. These children, they looked exactly like him at that age. The same dark wavy hair, the same eyes, the same dimple. His heart slammed against his ribs as a familiar voice called out, "Emma, Ethan, come back here, you two." And then she was there, Lauren Hayes, slightly out of breath but radiant, wearing a simple sweater and jeans, her honey blonde hair tied back in a ponytail. 4 years had passed since he'd last seen her. 4 years since his mother had convinced him that Lauren was just another gold digger trying to trap him. When their eyes met, time stopped. Ryan felt the ground shift beneath him. "Lauren," his voice cracked. She paled. The twins looked up at the tall stranger with curious blue eyes, and that unmistakable Montgomery dimple that mirrored his own. Have you ever had a moment when your entire life changed in the blink of an eye? When everything you thought you knew suddenly shattered, revealing a truth so profound it left you breathless. So settle in, my sisters, as we witness how one chance encounter at a fall festival changed everything for Lauren, Ryan, and the children who deserve to know both their parents. "Mom," Emma asked, sensing the tension. "Who is this?" Ryan's gaze snapped to Emma at the word mom. Then back to Lauren, 1,000 questions in his expression. "This is," Lauren began, her voice failing her. "I'm Ryan Montgomery," he said, his eyes never leaving Lauren's face. "I'm an old friend of your mother's." A festival volunteer approached, taking the puppy from Ryan's arms. "Thanks for catching him. He's been escaping all day." The interruption broke the spell. Lauren gathered herself, squeezing the twins' shoulders. "We should go. It was good to see you, Ryan." "Wait," he said, the word almost desperate. "Please, can we talk?" Lauren hesitated, torn between the urge to protect her children from potential hurt and the knowledge that this moment had been inevitable from the day she discovered she was pregnant. "The twins need lunch," she said finally. "We were just about to find the food vendors." "I know a good place," Ryan said quickly. "Just a few blocks from here. Quiet. We could talk." Lauren looked down at Emma and Ethan, who were watching this exchange with undisguised curiosity. They deserved to know their father. She had always believed that, even when protecting them from the pain of rejection. "Okay," she agreed softly. "We can talk." Sisters, have you ever had a moment when your whole world changed in an instant? Drop a red heart if you've experienced a life-changing encounter. The cafe Ryan suggested was indeed quiet, tucked away on a side street with a garden patio where the twins could play within sight while the adults talked. Lauren ordered sandwiches for the children, though neither she nor Ryan had much appetite. They sat in silence for a long moment, watching Emma and Ethan examine a butterfly bush, their dark heads bent together in identical poses of concentration. "They're mine," Ryan said finally. It wasn't a question. "Yes," Lauren confirmed, meeting his gaze directly. "Emma and Ethan are your children." Ryan's eyes never left the twins. "They have the Montgomery dimple. My mother always said it was unmistakable. Appears in the left cheek when we smile. My father had it. I have it. They have a lot of you in them," Lauren said softly. "Not just physically. Ethan approaches problems the same way you do, methodical, analytical. And Emma has your focus, your determination." Ryan turned to her, his expression a mixture of wonder and pain. "Why didn't you tell me?" The question hung between them, waited with 4 years of absence. I tried, Lauren said, her voice steady despite the emotion threatening to overwhelm her. I came to your house that night to tell you about the pregnancy. Your mother and uncle were there instead. They accused me of lying, of trying to trap you. They threatened me. She took a deep breath. I wrote you a letter explaining everything. I guess you never received it. No, Ryan said quietly. I never did. I'm not surprised. Your mother was very determined to protect you from me. Lauren watched the twins, drawing strength from their presence. When you called me 2 weeks later, your message made it clear you believed I was trying to extort you. After that, I decided it was better to raise the twins on my own than to fight a battle against your family. Ryan closed his eyes briefly, the pieces falling into place. My mother told me you'd admitted to seeing someone else, that the pregnancy claim was just an attempt to get money. I believed her because... He trailed off, ashamed. Because it was easier than believing she would lie to you, Lauren finished for him. I understand. She's your mother. That's no excuse, Ryan said, looking up at her. I should have talked to you directly. I should have questioned her story. Lauren shrugged slightly. It doesn't matter now. What's done is done. It matters to me, Ryan insisted. And it will matter to Emma and Ethan. As Ryan watched the twins play, memories washed over him like waves. He remembered the first time he saw Lauren, at that charity gala 4.5 years ago. He had been bored, restless, trapped in another obligatory social event where people were more interested in his fortune than in him. Then she had appeared, literally bumped into him, spilling water down his custom tuxedo. I'm so sorry, she'd gasped, mortified, her honey-blonde hair escaping its elegant updo as she frantically dabbed at his jacket with a cocktail napkin. Instead of the irritation she clearly expected, Ryan had found himself laughing. Genuinely laughing for what felt like the first time in years. Don't worry about it. This might be the most interesting thing that happens at one of these events all year. She'd looked up then, her warm brown eyes meeting his, and something had shifted in his world. She wasn't like the polished socialites his mother kept introducing him to. There was something refreshingly genuine about her. The way she knelt to reassure the embarrassed child beside her. The lack of calculation in her gaze when she looked at him. I'm Ryan Montgomery, he'd said, extending his hand. Lauren Hayes, she'd replied, her handshake firm despite her embarrassment. And I really am sorry about your tuxedo. It's just a jacket, he'd shrugged. But I'd love to know more about the program you're supporting tonight. Her face had lit up as she explained her work as a pediatric nurse, her passion for helping children with chronic illnesses. Ryan had found himself captivated, not just by her beauty, but by her intelligence, her compassion, her complete lack of interest in his wealth or status. He'd asked for her number that night, half expecting her to refuse. To his surprise and delight, she'd written it on a napkin, adding with a smile, just in case you need to send me the dry cleaning bill. Their first date had been coffee at a small shop near the children's clinic where she worked. Ryan had arrived early, nervous in a way he hadn't been since high school. Lauren had appeared in simple jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail, looking nothing like the elegant woman from the gala, and somehow even more beautiful. They talked for hours, about everything and nothing. About her childhood in rural Ohio, about losing her parents in a car accident, about rebuilding her life in New York, about his passion for renewable energy, his dreams of making a real difference in the world, his complicated relationship with his mother. Coffee had led to dinner the following week, dinner to long walks along the Connecticut shoreline. Ryan had found himself sharing thoughts and feelings he'd never voiced to anyone. His loneliness despite his success, his exhaustion with the expectations that came with the Montgomery name, his fear that he would never find someone who saw him for himself rather than his fortune. Lauren had listened without judgment, offering insights that cut through his defenses with gentle precision. She challenged him, made him laugh, saw past the billionaire CEO to the man beneath. Their relationship had developed in private, away from the scrutiny of society pages and his mother's watchful eye. Weekend getaways to a secluded cabin in the Berkshires, quiet dinners and hidden bistros where no one recognized him, Nights spent talking until dawn in her modest cottage, surrounded by books and warmth and a sense of home he'd never found in his mansion. For 6 months, Ryan had been happier than he'd ever been. And then, on a crisp autumn evening much like this one, everything had changed. "Mom, can we have ice cream?" Ethan's voice pulled Ryan back to the present. The twins had finished exploring the garden and now stood beside their table, eyes hopeful. Lauren checked her watch. "It's almost time for your naps, but I suppose a small one wouldn't hurt." "Yes." Emma pumped her fist in victory. "Can Mr. Montgomery come with us?" Ryan's heart clenched at the formal address. These were his children, yet they called him Mr. Montgomery. "If he'd like to," Lauren said carefully, glancing at Ryan. "I'd love to," he said, his voice rough with emotion. As they walked to the ice cream shop down the street, Ryan found himself studying the twins, cataloging every detail. Emma was slightly taller, more serious, her movements deliberate and graceful. Ethan was all energy, bouncing on his toes, asking questions about everything they passed. Both had his eyes, his hair, his dimple, but Lauren's warmth, her openness, her quiet strength. "What's your favorite flavor?" he asked them, desperate for any scrap of information about these children he should have known from birth. "Chocolate chip," Ethan declared without hesitation. "Strawberry," Emma said more thoughtfully, "but sometimes vanilla with sprinkles." Such simple things to know about your own children. Ryan felt the weight of 4 lost years pressing down on him like a physical burden. At the ice cream shop, he watched as Lauren helped the twins with napkins, with drips, with the easy routine of a mother who had done this 1,000 times before. Alone. She caught him watching and gave a small, sad smile that broke his heart all over again. "They're amazing," he said quietly as the twins focused on their treats. "You've done an incredible job with them." "Thank you," she replied simply. "They made it easy. They're good kids." Ryan hesitated, searching for words adequate to the moment. "I want to be part of their lives, not just occasional visits. I want to be their father in every way that matters." She studied him, her expression guarded. "And what about your mother? Your family? The people who drove me away, who made me feel like I had to protect my babies from their judgment and cruelty?" Ryan's jaw tightened. "My relationship with my mother will have to change. She lied to me, kept me from my children. That's unforgivable." "She thought she was protecting you," Lauren said, surprising him by defending Eleanor. "In her own misguided way, she was trying to shield you from what she saw as a threat." "That doesn't excuse what she did," Ryan insisted. "What she took from all of us." Lauren was quiet for a moment, watching the twins. "No, it doesn't. But they're your family, Ryan. And now they're Emma and Ethan's family too. Someday, the children might want to know their grandmother, regardless of what happened between us." Ryan studied her with new appreciation. "You've always been the better person, Lauren. Even now, after everything they put you through." "Not better," she corrected him. "Just focused on what matters. And what matters is that Emma and Ethan have the chance to know their father, if that's what you want." "It is," Ryan said without hesitation. "More than anything." Lauren nodded, a decision made. "Then come back to our hotel for dinner tonight. We can talk more, and you can start getting to know them properly." Relief washed over Ryan's face. "Thank you. I'll be there." As the twins finished their ice cream, chattering about the puppy they'd chased and the butterfly bush in the cafe garden, Ryan felt a sense of rightness settle over him. These children were his, not just in their appearance or mannerisms, but in some deeper, more fundamental way that he couldn't quite articulate. And Lauren, watching her with the twins, seeing the quiet strength and boundless love with which she'd raised them alone, Ryan realized that his feelings for her had never truly faded. They had been buried beneath hurt and misunderstanding, but they were still there, still real. The question was whether she could ever forgive him for failing her when she needed him most. That evening, Ryan stood outside Lauren's hotel room, a gift bag in each hand. He'd spent the afternoon in a daze, canceling meetings, rearranging his schedule, and shopping for presents that might begin to bridge the 4-year gap between him and his children. He'd chosen carefully. A set of dinosaur figurines for Ethan, Lauren had mentioned his collection, and an art set for Emma. Apparently she loved to draw. Nothing extravagant, nothing that might seem like he was trying to buy their affection. Just thoughtful gifts that showed he was listening, that he cared. His hand shook slightly as he knocked on the door. What if the twins rejected him? What if Lauren had changed her mind? What if... The door swung open, and Emma stood there in pajamas decorated with stars. Her dark hair damp from a bath, her blue eyes, his eyes, regarding him with solemn curiosity. "Mom said you're coming for dinner," she said. "We ordered pizza." "That sounds perfect," Ryan replied, his voice thick with emotion. "May I come in?" Emma nodded, stepping back to let him enter. The hotel suite was modest but comfortable. A small sitting area with a table set for 4, a television playing a cartoon with the volume low, toys and books scattered across the sofa. Ethan appeared from the bedroom area, also in pajamas, his decorated with dinosaurs. "Hi, Mr. Montgomery. Did you bring presents?" he asked, eyeing the gift bags with undisguised interest. "Ethan," Lauren admonished gently, emerging from the kitchenette with plates in hand. "That's not polite." "It's okay," Ryan assured her. "And yes, I did bring something for each of you. I hope that's all right." Lauren's expression softened. "Of course. That was thoughtful of you." The twins accepted their gifts with excitement, tearing into the tissue paper with the unbridled enthusiasm only children can muster. Their delight at the simple presents made Ryan's chest ache with a mixture of joy and regret for all the birthdays and Christmases he had missed. "Dinosaurs!" Ethan exclaimed, immediately beginning to name each species with impressive accuracy. "Look, Mom!" Emma held up the art set reverently. "It has watercolors and colored pencils." "Those are wonderful gifts," Lauren said, meeting Ryan's gaze over the children's heads. "What do you say to Mr. Montgomery?" "Thank you," they chorused. "You're very welcome," Ryan replied. "And please call me Ryan." A knock at the door announced the arrival of the pizza, and they settled around the small table for dinner. The conversation flowed more easily than Ryan had dared to hope, the twins eager to tell him about their school, their friends, their favorite books and games and movies. He soaked up every detail like a man dying of thirst, asking questions, listening intently, storing away each precious fact about these remarkable children who were his own flesh and blood. "Do you really build things that help the planet?" Ethan asked between bites of pepperoni pizza. Ryan glanced at Lauren, surprised. "Yes, I do. My company develops renewable energy technology, wind farms, solar arrays, that sort of thing." "Mom says that's why you live far away," Emma said matter-of-factly. "Because you have important work helping the planet." Ryan's gaze met Lauren's across the table, gratitude washing over him. Despite everything, she had given the twins a positive image of their absent father. "Your mom is right about the work being important," Ryan said carefully. "But I didn't know about you too. If I had, I would have been there. Nothing is more important than being a father to you." The twins exchanged one of those silent communications that only they seemed to understand. Then Emma, ever the spokesperson, asked the question Ryan had been dreading. "Are you our dad?" The room went still. Lauren set down her pizza slice, her expression a mixture of concern and resignation. "Yes," Ryan said simply, his voice steady despite the emotion threatening to overwhelm him. "I am your father." "I knew it," Ethan exclaimed. "You have the same dimple as us. Mom showed us pictures of you, but you look older now." Ryan laughed despite himself. "Yes, I suppose I do. Why didn't you know about us?" Emma pressed, her gaze direct and unflinching, so like his own when confronting a difficult truth. Lauren intervened gently. "Remember what we talked about earlier? Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes and get confused. It wasn't anyone's fault." "But now you know," Ethan said to Ryan, his expression hopeful. "So will you come live with us in Ohio?" The innocent question hung in the air, laden with implications neither child could understand. Ryan looked to Lauren for guidance. "It's not that simple, sweetheart," she explained. "Ryan lives here in Connecticut. He has his company, his home. But he's our dad," Emma insisted with a child's perfect logic. "Dads are supposed to live with their kids." Ryan's heart twisted. "I want to be part of your lives," he said carefully. "I want to know you both, to spend time with you. We'll figure out how to make that work, even if we don't live in the same house." The twins seemed to accept this, though Ethan's lower lip trembled slightly. Ryan fought the urge to promise them everything, anything, to take away that look of disappointment. "How about we finish our pizza?" Lauren suggested. "And then Ryan can read your bedtime story tonight?" The children brightened immediately, and the conversation shifted to a heated debate about which book Ryan should read. As they chattered, Lauren caught his eye and mouthed a silent, "Thank you." For what, Ryan wasn't sure, for not making promises he couldn't keep, perhaps, or for accepting the boundaries she had set. Later, after the pizza was gone and the twins were bathed and in their pajamas, Ryan experienced the profound joy of reading bedtime stories to his children for the first time. They nestled against him on Emma's bed, one on each side, their small bodies warm and trusting as he read about curious monkeys and brave little trains. "Will you come back tomorrow?" Ethan asked sleepily as Ryan tucked him into the other twin bed. "If your mom says it's okay," Ryan answered, smoothing the boy's dark hair, so like his own. "And the next day?" Emma pressed from her bed. "We're only in Connecticut for 2 more days," Lauren reminded them gently from the doorway. "Remember? Then we go back home to Ohio." The reality of the situation hit Ryan anew. They lived in Ohio. He lived in Connecticut. How could he possibly be the father they deserved with hundreds of miles between them? "I'll come tomorrow," he promised, "and we'll talk about what happens after that." "Night, Ryan," Emma murmured, her eyes drifting closed. "Good night, Emma." "Good night, Ethan." Ryan stood in the doorway watching his children sleep for a long moment before quietly closing the door. In the sitting area, Lauren was clearing away the remains of dinner. Ryan moved to help her, the domestic task strangely intimate after the emotional intensity of the evening. "They're amazing," he said quietly. "You've done an incredible job with them, Lauren." "Thank you." She smiled, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. "They make it easy." "What happens now?" Ryan asked, the question that had been burning in his mind all evening. Lauren sighed, setting down the plates she'd been stacking. "I don't know, Ryan. This isn't a situation I ever expected to be in. We live in Ohio. We have a life there, school, friends, my job, my sister's family nearby. I could visit," Ryan suggested, "regularly, and they could come here for holidays, school breaks." "And what about your mother?" Lauren asked, the question gentle but direct. "Eleanor made her feelings about me very clear. I won't subject Emma and Ethan to that kind of rejection." Ryan's expression hardened. "My mother will have to accept this situation, or she won't be part of it. The twins are my children, Lauren. Nothing and no one will keep me from them again, not even Eleanor Montgomery." Lauren studied him, searching for something in his face. Whatever she saw must have reassured her, because she nodded slowly. "We'll figure it out," she said. "For the twins' sake." "For all our sakes," Ryan corrected softly. As he left the hotel that night, Ryan felt both lighter and heavier than he had in years. The joy of finding his children, of seeing the remarkable people they were becoming, was tempered by the weight of responsibility and the knowledge of all he had missed. And tomorrow, he would have to confront his mother about the lies that had cost him 4 irreplaceable years of his children's lives. The Montgomery estate was silent as Ryan's car crunched up the gravel driveway. The Georgian mansion loomed against the morning sky, its elegant proportions and manicured grounds a testament to old money and careful preservation. Once Ryan had been proud of this legacy. Now it felt like a beautiful prison of expectations and appearances. Eleanor was in the conservatory, arranging flowers with the precise attention to detail that characterized everything she did. At 72, she remained a striking figure, silver hair swept into an elegant chignon, posture perfect in her tailored cashmere sweater and pearls. She looked up as Ryan entered, her face lighting with pleasure. "Ryan, what a lovely surprise. I thought you were in meetings all day." "I canceled them," he said, his voice carefully neutral. Something more important came up. Eleanor's hands stilled on the roses she was arranging. "Is everything all right with the company?" "The company is fine." Ryan moved to the window, looking out at the gardens where he had played as a child. "I saw Lauren Hayes yesterday." The silence that followed was absolute. When Ryan turned, his mother's face had gone pale, her fingers white-knuckled around the stem of a rose. "I see," she said finally, her voice remarkably steady. "And how is Miss Hayes?" "She's well," Ryan replied, watching his mother carefully. "She's the head nurse at a children's hospital in Ohio now. She owns her home outright. She's built a good life for herself and her children." Eleanor flinched slightly at the last word. "Her children." "My children, Mother." Ryan's voice hardened. "My 4-year-old twins, Emma and Ethan. They have my eyes, my hair, and the Montgomery dimple. They're mine, and you knew it. You kept them from me." Eleanor set down her flower arrangement with trembling hands. "Ryan, you have to understand." "Understand what?" Ryan demanded, his control slipping. "That you decided I wasn't capable of making my own decisions? That you thought it was better to deprive me of my children than to let me be with someone you didn't approve of?" "I was protecting you," Eleanor burst out. "After what Caroline did to you, after the way she tried to take half your company in the divorce, I couldn't stand by and watch another woman take advantage of you." "Lauren never wanted anything from me," Ryan said, his voice dangerously quiet. "She's raised our children alone for 4 years. She owns her home outright. She's advanced in her career. She never once tried to contact me for money." Eleanor sank into a chair, suddenly looking every one of her 72 years. "I was wrong," she admitted, tears filling her eyes. "I was so afraid she would hurt you the way Caroline did. I acted out of love, Ryan. Misguided, perhaps, but love nonetheless." "And the letter?" Ryan asked. "Lauren said she wrote to me, explaining everything." Eleanor looked away, guilt written across her features. "Richard intercepted it. I was distraught after her visit. He thought it best to handle the situation." "You had no right," Ryan said, his voice shaking with suppressed rage. "No right at all. What will you do now?" Eleanor asked quietly. "I'm going to be a father to my children," Ryan replied. "I'm going to make up for the 4 years I've lost however I can." "And Lauren?" Ryan hesitated. "That's complicated. She has every reason to hate me, to keep me at arm's length. But she's allowing me to know the twins, to be part of their lives. She's a remarkable woman, Mother. If you had given her a chance, you might have seen that." Eleanor dabbed at her eyes with a linen handkerchief. "Will you bring them here? The children? I would like to meet my grandchildren." "That's not my decision to make," Ryan said. "It's Lauren's. And after the way you treated her, I wouldn't blame her if she never wanted them anywhere near you." Eleanor flinched as if he'd struck her. "I understand," she whispered. "But please tell her I'm sorry, truly sorry." Ryan studied his mother, this proud, formidable woman who had shaped his life in so many ways, for better and worse. For the first time, he saw not the indomitable Eleanor Montgomery, but an aging woman who had made a terrible mistake out of misguided love and fear. "I'll tell her," he said finally, "but it's up to her whether to accept your apology." As he turned to leave, Eleanor called after him. "Ryan, what are they like?" "The twins." Ryan paused in the doorway, a small smile touching his lips despite his anger. "They're incredible, Mother. Emma is thoughtful and artistic with a determination that reminds me of you, actually. Ethan is all energy and curiosity, always asking questions, always wanting to understand how things work." His voice softened. "They have the Montgomery dimple. Dad would have loved that." Eleanor's eyes filled with fresh tears. "Yes," she agreed softly. "He would have. My queens, have you ever been judged unfairly by someone who didn't know your heart? Comment below with how you handled it." The next 2 days passed in a whirlwind of emotion and discovery. Ryan spent every available moment with the twins and Lauren, learning their routines, their preferences, their small rituals that made up a family life. He took them to the aquarium, to the park, to a children's museum, storing up memories to sustain him through the separation to come. Because they would be separated. Lauren had a life in Ohio, a home, a career, a support system. Ryan had his company in Connecticut, responsibilities to thousands of employees, projects that couldn't simply be abandoned. The logistics of parenting across hundreds of miles loomed as a daunting challenge. On their final evening together, after the twins were asleep, Ryan and Lauren sat on the hotel room balcony, the October night cool around them. "I've been thinking," Ryan said, breaking the comfortable silence. "I could open a regional office in Columbus. We've been considering expansion in the Midwest anyway. I could split my time, part of each month there, part here." Lauren looked surprised. "You'd do that?" "In a heartbeat," Ryan said without hesitation. "I've already missed 4 years, Lauren. I don't want to miss another day if I can help it." She studied him in the dim light. "And your company? Your responsibilities here?" "I have a good executive team. Modern technology makes remote work possible. And frankly, nothing is more important than being a father to Emma and Ethan." He hesitated. "And maybe we could see where things stand between us too." Lauren's expression softened. "Ryan, I know it's complicated," he said quickly. "I know I hurt you, even if it wasn't intentional. I know trust has to be rebuilt. But the feelings I had for you, they never really went away. These past few days, seeing you with the twins, understanding the strength it took to build a life for them on your own. I admire you more than ever." "I never stopped caring for you," Lauren admitted quietly. "Even when I thought you had rejected us, there was a part of me that couldn't let go. But caring isn't enough, Ryan. We have the twins to consider now. Their stability, their happiness has to come first." "I agree completely," Ryan said. "Which is why I want to do this right. Take it slow, be thoughtful about every step. But Lauren, I want a chance. A chance to be the father they deserve, and maybe someday to be the man you deserve too." Lauren was quiet for a long moment, the distant sounds of the city a gentle backdrop to their conversation. "One step at a time," she said finally. "Let's focus on establishing a routine for you and the twins first. The rest, we'll see." It wasn't everything Ryan had hoped for, but it was a beginning, a chance. And after 4 lost years, a chance was all he could ask for. The next morning, saying goodbye to the twins at the airport was one of the hardest things Ryan had ever done. Emma was stoic, her small face serious as she hugged him tightly. Ethan cried openly, clinging to Ryan's neck and asking again why he couldn't come with them to Ohio. "I'll see you very soon," Ryan promised, his own eyes damp as he knelt to their level. "I'm going to come visit next weekend, and we'll talk on video calls every day until then." "Promise?" Ethan asked, his lower lip trembling. "I promise," Ryan said solemnly. "And a Montgomery always keeps his promises." As he watched them walk through security, Lauren holding their hands, Ryan felt a physical ache in his chest. But there was hope too, hope for the future, for the family they might become. He had a lot of work to do. Finding a place in Columbus, rearranging his professional responsibilities, rebuilding trust with Lauren, and most importantly, becoming the father Emma and Ethan deserved. But for the first time in years, Ryan Montgomery felt truly alive, truly purposeful. His phone buzzed with a text as he walked back to his car. It was from Lauren with a photo attached, the twins at the gate, both giving thumbs up to the camera, their Montgomery dimples on full display. "They're already asking when you'll call tonight. Safe travels to Columbus next weekend. We'll be waiting." Ryan smiled, saving the photo as his new background image. They would make this work. They had to. The alternative was unthinkable. The weeks that followed established a new rhythm to their lives. Ryan flew to Columbus every weekend, renting a furnished apartment near Lauren's cottage, while he looked for a more permanent place. He attended soccer practices, school events, and Sunday dinners with Lauren's sister's family. During the week, he and the twins had video calls every evening, reading bedtime stories, sharing their days, building the bonds that should have been there from birth. Lauren watched this developing relationship with a mixture of joy and caution. Ryan was everything she had hoped he would be as a father, patient, attentive, fully present when he was with the twins. He never arrived without thoughtful little gifts, never made promises he couldn't keep, never tried to buy their affection with extravagance. And with her, he was respectful of the boundaries she had set, never pushing for more than she was ready to give. They were co-parents first, friends second, and anything beyond that remained an unspoken possibility hovering on the horizon. By Thanksgiving, Ryan had purchased a home in Columbus, not too close to Lauren's cottage, but near enough that he could be fully involved in the twins' daily lives when he was in town. He had established a regional office for Montgomery Renewable Energy and restructured his executive team to allow him to split his time between Ohio and Connecticut. The holiday itself presented a delicate challenge. Eleanor had asked, through Ryan, if she might join them. She wanted to meet her grandchildren, to begin making amends for the grievous error that had kept them apart. "It's your decision," Ryan told Lauren as they discussed it over coffee after dropping the twins at school. "I won't pressure you either way." Lauren was quiet for a moment, stirring her latte thoughtfully. "What do you think? Has she genuinely changed?" "I think she's genuinely sorry," Ryan said carefully. "She's been humbled by this whole situation in a way I've never seen before. But I also think she's still Eleanor Montgomery. Strong-willed, opinionated, accustomed to getting her way. If you're not comfortable with her meeting the twins yet, I completely understand." Lauren considered this. "The twins should know their grandmother," she said finally. "Family is important, even complicated family. But I want to meet with her first, alone, before she meets Emma and Ethan." Ryan looked surprised. "You'd do that? Meet with her alone?" "Yes," Lauren said firmly. "If she's going to be part of the twins' lives, she and I need to clear the air. I won't have tension or unspoken resentment affecting Emma and Ethan." Ryan reached across the table, covering her hand with his. "You continue to amaze me, Lauren Hayes." She smiled, a faint blush coloring her cheeks. "I'm just doing what's best for our children." The meeting between Lauren and Eleanor took place the day before Thanksgiving, at Ryan's Columbus home. He had offered to be present, but Lauren had insisted this was something she needed to do alone. Eleanor arrived looking both regal and nervous, an unusual combination for the formidable Montgomery matriarch. She had aged in the months since Ryan's confrontation, the lines in her face deeper, her shoulders slightly less straight. "Ms. Hayes," she said formally, extending her hand. "Thank you for agreeing to see me." "Lauren, please," Lauren replied, accepting the handshake. "And thank you for coming all this way." They settled in Ryan's living room, the atmosphere tense but civil. Eleanor declined coffee or tea, her hands clasped tightly in her lap. "I owe you an apology," she began without preamble. "What I did was unforgivable. I allowed my fear and prejudice to override my judgment, and in doing so, I robbed my son of 4 years with his children. I robbed those children of their father, and I robbed you of the support and partnership you deserved." Lauren studied the older woman, searching for sincerity in her aristocratic features. "Why did you do it? Really? Was it just that I wasn't from the right social circle?" Eleanor sighed, her composure slipping slightly. "Partly, yes. I was raised to believe that certain things mattered: background, education, connections. But it was more than that." She paused, seeming to gather her thoughts. Ryan's ex-wife Caroline was perfect on paper. The right family, the right schools, the right ambitions. And she nearly destroyed him, emotionally and financially. When you appeared, pregnant and from a background so different from ours, all I could see was another threat to my son. "I never wanted Ryan's money," Lauren said quietly. "I just wanted him to know his children." "I understand that now," Eleanor acknowledged. "I've seen the life you've built, the way you've raised Emma and Ethan. You're a remarkable woman, Lauren. Far more worthy of my son than I gave you credit for." The simple admission, delivered without Eleanor's usual imperial manner, touched Lauren more than she had expected. I won't pretend what you did didn't hurt, Lauren said after a moment. It did deeply, but I've learned that holding on to anger only hurts the person holding it. The twins deserve to know their grandmother, if you're willing to be the grandmother they deserve. Eleanor's eyes glistened with unshed tears. I would like that very much, and I promise you, I will never again interfere or pass judgment. I just want a chance to know them, to be part of their lives in whatever way you deem appropriate. Lauren nodded, a decision made. Then you'll join us for Thanksgiving tomorrow, and we'll take it from there one step at a time. When Eleanor met the twins the next day, her composure finally broke. Emma and Ethan, dressed in their holiday best and coached by Lauren to be polite, approached their grandmother with curious eyes and cautious smiles. Hello, Emma said formally, extending her small hand just as Lauren had shown her. I'm Emma Montgomery Hayes. It's nice to meet you. And I'm Ethan, her brother added with less ceremony but equal charm, his Montgomery dimple flashing. Eleanor knelt to their level, something Ryan had never seen his proper mother do in his entire life. Hello, Emma. Hello, Ethan. I'm your grandmother, Eleanor, and I am so very, very happy to meet you both. Her voice broke on the last words, and to everyone's astonishment, the formidable Eleanor Montgomery began to cry. Quiet, dignified tears that nonetheless spoke volumes about her regret and her joy at finally meeting her grandchildren. The twins, unsure how to respond to an emotional adult, looked to Lauren for guidance. She nodded encouragingly, and Emma, always the more empathetic of the two, stepped forward and patted Eleanor's arm. Don't be sad, grandmother. It's Thanksgiving. We're supposed to be happy and eat lots of turkey. Eleanor laughed through her tears, gently touching Emma's cheek. You're absolutely right, my dear. And I am happy, happier than I've been in a very long time. Thanksgiving dinner was a success beyond what any of them had dared to hope. Eleanor charmed the twins with stories of Ryan's childhood, while Lauren's sister Megan and her family provided warmth and laughter. Ryan, watching his mother interact with his children, felt a complex mixture of emotions, lingering anger at what she had done, but also gratitude for her evident desire to make amends. After dinner, as the adults lingered over coffee and the twins played with Megan's children in the next room, Eleanor approached Lauren quietly. You've created a wonderful family, she said, genuine admiration in her voice. Thank you for allowing me to be part of it, despite everything. Lauren smiled, the last of her reservations beginning to fade. Family is family, Eleanor, even when it's complicated. Ryan, overhearing this exchange, felt something shift inside him. A healing beginning, a future opening up that he hadn't dared to imagine. As autumn gave way to winter, the new family rhythm they had established grew stronger. Ryan divided his time between Columbus and Connecticut, though he found himself spending increasingly more time in Ohio. The regional office was thriving, and more importantly, his relationship with the twins was deepening with every visit, every bedtime story, every soccer game and art project. His relationship with Lauren was evolving too, slowly, carefully, but unmistakably. They had begun having dinner together occasionally after the twins were in bed, talking late into the evening about everything and nothing. The connection that had drawn them together initially was still there, perhaps even stronger for the challenges they had overcome. One snowy evening in early December, after the twins were asleep, Ryan and Lauren sat before the fireplace in her cottage, the Christmas tree lights twinkling in the corner. The twins want to know if we're all spending Christmas together, Lauren said, curled up on the sofa with a mug of hot chocolate. They have very specific ideas about how the holiday should go. Ryan smiled, imagining Emma and Ethan's detailed plans. What did you tell them? That we'd figure it out together, Lauren replied. They also asked if you and I are going to get married, like their friend Zoe's parents did after they got back together. Ryan nearly choked on his coffee. They did? What did you say to that? Lauren laughed softly at his expression. I told them that grown-up relationships are complicated, and that right now we're focusing on being the best parents we can be. A diplomatic answer, Ryan acknowledged, his heart racing slightly. But not really an answer. Lauren met his gaze steadily. No, I suppose it wasn't. Ryan set down his mug, gathering his courage. Lauren, these past months, getting to know the twins, rebuilding our connection, they've been the happiest of my life. I know we agreed to take things slow, to focus on co-parenting first, but I need to be honest with you. About what? She asked softly. I'm in love with you, Ryan said simply. I think I always have been, even during those 4 years apart. Seeing you with our children, understanding the strength and grace with which you've built a life for them, it's only made me love you more. Lauren's eyes glistened in the firelight. Ryan, I'm not proposing, he clarified quickly. Not yet. I know we still have things to work through, trust to rebuild. But I wanted you to know where I stand, how I feel. Whatever pace you're comfortable with, whatever boundaries you need, I'll respect them. I don't want to pretend anymore that what I feel for you is only about co-parenting. Lauren was quiet for a long moment, the crackling fire the only sound in the room. Then she set down her mug and moved closer to him on the sofa. I've been afraid, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Afraid to trust again, afraid of being hurt. But the truth is, I never stopped loving you either, Ryan. Even when I thought you had rejected us, there was a part of my heart that was still yours. Ryan reached for her hand, his thumb tracing gentle circles on her palm. So where does that leave us? Moving forward, Lauren said, a smile spreading across her face. Together, one step at a time. When he kissed her, it felt like coming home. Like the 4 years of separation had been nothing but a brief interruption in a story that was always meant to continue. Christmas approached with mounting excitement from the twins. Ryan had moved temporarily into Lauren's guest room for the holiday week, wanting to be fully present for all the festivities. Eleanor would be joining them for Christmas dinner, along with Lauren's sister and her family. A blending of their worlds that would have seemed impossible just months before. On Christmas Eve, after an evening of cookie decorating and reading The Night Before Christmas, Ryan helped Lauren place the last of the presents under the tree, while the twins slept upstairs, visions of sugar plums presumably dancing in their heads. I have something for you, Ryan said quietly, pulling a small wrapped box from his pocket. I'd like you to open it tonight, rather than tomorrow with everyone else. Lauren looked surprised but accepted the gift. Should I open it now? Ryan nodded, suddenly nervous. Please. She unwrapped the package carefully, revealing a velvet jewelry box. Inside was not a ring, as she had half feared, half hoped, but a beautiful silver locket. When she opened it, she found a tiny family photo on one side, the 4 of them at Thanksgiving, laughing together, and an inscription on the other. Our family, our future. All my love, Ryan. It's beautiful, Lauren said, her eyes filling with tears. It's a promise, Ryan explained, taking her hands in his. A promise that whatever the future holds, we'll face it together, as a family. I'm not rushing you, Lauren. If you're ever ready for more, I'll be here. But for now, I just want you to know that you and the twins are my world, my home, my heart. Lauren touched the locket gently, then looked up at him with such love in her eyes that Ryan felt his heart might burst. Help me put it on? As he fastened the clasp around her neck, his fingers brushing against her skin, Ryan felt a sense of rightness, of completion. Whatever challenges lay ahead, and there would be many, he knew, they would face them together. The next morning, Christmas Day dawned bright and clear, the world outside transformed by a fresh blanket of snow. Ryan was awakened at an ungodly hour by 2 extremely excited children bouncing on his bed. Wake up! It's Christmas! Ethan shouted, practically vibrating with anticipation. Santa came, Emma added, pulling at Ryan's hand. Come see. Ryan allowed himself to be dragged downstairs, where Lauren was already in the kitchen making coffee, looking adorably rumpled in her pajamas and robe. The locket gleamed at her throat, and she touched it unconsciously when she saw him, a smile lighting her face. Merry Christmas, she said, handing him a steaming mug. Merry Christmas, he replied, resisting the urge to kiss her in front of the twins. They were taking things slowly, after all. The morning passed in a blur of torn wrapping paper, exclamations of delight, and the pure, uncomplicated joy that only children on Christmas morning can generate. Ryan found himself watching Lauren as much as the twins, his heart full to bursting with love for this family that was finally, truly his. After the presents were opened and breakfast was eaten, the twins settled in to play with their new toys while Ryan and Lauren cleaned up the kitchen together. "I have something for you too," Lauren said, reaching into her robe pocket. "I was going to wait, but, well, it seems like the right moment." She handed him a small envelope. Inside, Ryan found a key. "It's to the cottage," Lauren explained, a hint of nervousness in her voice. "I thought maybe after the holidays you might want to move in? Properly, I mean, not just the guest room." Ryan stared at the key, then at Lauren, his heart racing. "Are you sure? I don't want to rush you or the twins." "I'm sure," Lauren said, stepping closer to him. "The twins already think of this as your home, and so do I. We've lost 4 years, Ryan. I don't want to lose any more time being cautious when what I really want is for us to be a family, in every way." Ryan pulled her into his arms, the key clutched tightly in his hand. "I love you, Lauren Hayes. You and those amazing children upstairs are the best gifts I could ever receive." "We love you too," Lauren whispered against his chest. "All of us." When Eleanor arrived for Christmas dinner that afternoon, she noticed the change immediately. The way Ryan and Lauren moved in sync around the kitchen, the casual touches, the shared glances full of meaning. She said nothing, but her eyes glistened with tears when she saw the locket around Lauren's neck, and later, when she caught Ryan kissing Lauren under the mistletoe when they thought no one was looking. As they gathered around the table, Ryan and Lauren, the twins, Eleanor, Megan and her family. Ryan looked at the faces of the people he loved most in the world and felt a profound sense of gratitude. For months ago, he had been a successful but lonely man, cut off from the most important part of himself without even knowing it. Now he was surrounded by love, by family, by the kind of wealth that couldn't be measured in dollars or stock options. Sisters, tag someone who showed incredible courage when facing their past. And if you're enjoying this journey, subscribe to join our storytelling family. Winter melted into spring, and with the changing seasons came new beginnings. Ryan moved into the cottage officially in January, his presence filling the home with a completeness that Lauren hadn't realized was missing. The twins thrived with both parents under one roof, their already sunny natures blooming further with the security of their united family. Eleanor, true to her word, became a devoted grandmother, visiting regularly but never interfering, learning to appreciate the simple joys of Lauren's modest home and community. She even began volunteering at the children's hospital where Lauren worked, her organizational skills and formidable fundraising abilities proving invaluable to the pediatric ward. By April, Ryan had restructured his company further, making the Columbus office his primary base and traveling to Connecticut only when absolutely necessary. He had also begun looking at local schools for the twins, wanting them to have the best education possible while still maintaining the warmth and normalcy of their current life. One evening, as they walked along the bike path near their home, the twins racing ahead on their new bicycles, with training wheels for Ethan, who was still mastering the skill, Ryan broached a subject that had been on his mind for weeks. "I've been thinking about the future," he said, his hand warm in Lauren's as they strolled in the spring sunshine. "About what's best for the twins, for all of us." "What kind of thinking?" Lauren asked, a hint of wariness in her voice. "Good thinking," Ryan assured her with a smile. "I want to establish a trust for Emma and Ethan's education. Nothing extravagant, but enough to ensure they can attend any college they choose when the time comes." Lauren nodded slowly. "That seems reasonable. What else?" "I'd like to put the cottage in both our names," Ryan continued. "And I want to talk about making things official. Between us, I mean." Lauren stopped walking, turning to face him. "Ryan Montgomery, are you proposing to me on a bike path while our children are potentially crashing into trees up ahead?" Ryan laughed, pulling her close. No, I am not. When I propose, and I will, Lauren, make no mistake about that, it will be properly romantic and memorable. This is just opening the conversation, letting you know where my head is. Lauren's expression softened. And where is your head, exactly? Firmly and irrevocably with my heart, Ryan said simply. With you and the twins. With our family. I want to make it permanent, Lauren. I want to be your husband, not just your co-parent and housemate. But only when you're ready. Lauren stood on tiptoe to kiss him, her arms winding around his neck. I'm ready, she whispered against his lips. I've been ready for a while now. Ryan's heart soared, but before he could respond, twin voices interrupted their moment. They're kissing again, Ethan called from up the path. That means they love each other, Emma informed her brother with the wisdom of her nearly 5 years. Mom says it's a grown-up way of showing affection. Ryan and Lauren broke apart, laughing. Out of the mouths of babes, Ryan murmured, taking Lauren's hand again as they continued down the path toward their children. The perfect proposal Ryan had promised came on a warm evening in early December, exactly 1 year after he had given Lauren the locket. The twins were central to his plan, their excitement barely contained as they helped prepare for the special night. Lauren returned from her shift at the hospital to find the cottage transformed. Twinkling lights strung across the ceiling, candles flickering on every surface, and a trail of rose petals leading from the front door into the living room. Emma and Ethan, dressed in their holiday best, waited solemnly at the end of the trail. What's all this? Lauren asked, her heart beginning to race as she set down her purse. It's a surprise, Mommy, Emma said, taking her hand. You have to follow us. Ethan took her other hand, practically bouncing with excitement. We've been practicing all day. They led her into the living room, where the Christmas tree glowed with soft lights, and Ryan stood waiting in a suit, his expression a mixture of love and nervous anticipation. What's going on? Lauren asked, though she had begun to suspect. Ryan stepped forward, taking her hands from the twins. Lauren Hayes, 1 year ago today, I gave you a locket with a promise that whatever the future held, we would face it together as a family. That promise has been the guiding star of my life ever since. He nodded to the twins, who stepped forward importantly. Emma held a small velvet box, while Ethan clutched a handmade card. We helped pick it out, Emma announced, opening the box to reveal a beautiful diamond ring. Elegant but not ostentatious, exactly Lauren's taste. And I made this, Ethan added, handing Lauren the card. Inside, in his careful kindergarten printing, were the words, "Please marry our dad." Tears filled Lauren's eyes as she looked from the card to the ring to the 3 faces watching her with such hope and love. Ryan took the ring from Emma and knelt before Lauren. For years ago, we lost each other through misunderstanding and interference. But fate brought us back together, gave us a second chance. Every day since then has confirmed what I've always known in my heart, that you are the love of my life, the mother of my children, the partner I want by my side through everything life brings. He held up the ring, his voice steady despite the emotion shining in his eyes. Lauren Hayes, will you marry me? Will you make our family complete? Say yes, Mommy, Ethan stage whispered, unable to contain himself. Lauren laughed through her tears, looking at the 3 people who had become her whole world. Yes, she said, her voice breaking with joy. Yes, I'll marry you. As Ryan slipped the ring onto her finger, the twins erupted in cheers, throwing the rose petals they'd been secretly holding into the air like confetti. Ryan stood and pulled Lauren into his arms, kissing her with all the love and promise of their future together. We're going to be a real family now, Emma declared, hugging them both around the waist. We already were, sweetheart, Lauren said, kneeling to gather both twins into her embrace. The wedding just makes it official. Ryan joined them on the floor, his arms encircling all 3. Your mom is right. We've been a family from the moment I found you at that festival. Some families just take a little longer to find each other. Later that night, after the twins were asleep and the excitement had settled into a warm glow of happiness, Ryan and Lauren sat before the fire, her head on his shoulder, her new ring catching the firelight. "Are you happy?" Ryan asked softly, his fingers tracing patterns on her arm. "Completely," Lauren replied, tilting her face up to his. "Are you?" "More than I ever thought possible," he admitted. "Sometimes I still can't believe how lucky I am, that I found you again, found our children, that we have this second chance." "Not luck," Lauren corrected gently. "Fate, maybe, or just the simple truth that we were always meant to be together, and the universe found a way to make it happen." Ryan kissed her, a kiss full of gratitude and promise. "I love you, Lauren Hayes, soon to be Lauren Montgomery." "I love you too," she whispered against his lips. "Always have, always will." Their wedding took place the following spring, a simple but elegant affair held in the backyard of the home Ryan had bought for them, a spacious house on 3 acres just outside Columbus, with room for the twins to play and grow, yet close enough to Lauren's work and the children's school to maintain their established routines. Emma served as flower girl, taking her duties with utmost seriousness as she scattered rose petals along the garden path. Ethan, as ring bearer, approached his role with equal gravity, the small pillow bearing their rings clutched tightly in his hands. Lauren was radiant in a simple ivory gown, her honey blonde hair swept up with small flowers woven through the elegant style. As she walked toward Ryan, who waited beneath an arch of spring blossoms, she felt a sense of rightness, of completion, that brought tears to her eyes. Their vows were personal and heartfelt, speaking not only of their love for each other, but also of the family they had created together. Ryan promised to cherish Lauren every day, to be the partner and father their family deserved, to never again let pride or misunderstanding come between them. Lauren vowed to trust in their love, to face challenges together rather than alone, to build a home filled with joy and acceptance. When the minister pronounced them husband and wife, the twins cheered louder than anyone, rushing forward to embrace their parents before Ryan had even finished kissing his bride. The reception was joyful and relaxed. Close friends and family gathered to celebrate not just a marriage but the healing of a family once fractured by misunderstanding. Eleanor, elegant in pale blue, gave a tearful toast about second chances and the wisdom that comes from acknowledging one's mistakes. "To Ryan and Lauren," she concluded, raising her glass, "and to Emma and Ethan who brought us all together. May your lives be filled with the love and joy you've shown me is possible, even after great mistakes." As the evening progressed, Ryan found a moment alone with his mother on the terrace, watching as Lauren danced with the twins, all 3 laughing as they twirled beneath the string lights. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for everything you've done to make today special, for accepting Lauren and being such a wonderful grandmother to the twins." Eleanor's eyes were soft as she watched her grandchildren. "I should be thanking you, Ryan, for forgiving me when I didn't deserve it, for allowing me to be part of this beautiful family despite what I did." "We all make mistakes," Ryan said, his gaze returning to his new wife and children. "What matters is how we make amends, how we grow from them." Eleanor nodded, patting his hand. "You've grown into a remarkable man, Ryan, a better person than I ever was. Your father would be so proud of you, of the company you've built, yes, but more importantly, of the family you've created. That's the true Montgomery legacy." Later, as Ryan and Lauren shared their first dance as husband and wife, he held her close, breathing in the scent of her hair, the feel of her in his arms. "Happy?" he murmured against her temple. "Perfectly," she replied, her arms tightening around his neck. "Though I do have some news that might make today even more special." Ryan pulled back slightly to look at her face. "What news?" Lauren's eyes sparkled with joy and secret knowledge. "I was going to wait until after the honeymoon to tell you, but I'm pregnant, about 8 weeks along." Ryan stared at her in wonder, his heart seeming to stop and then race forward. We're having a baby?" Lauren nodded, her smile radiant. "The twins are going to have a little brother or sister around Thanksgiving. Are you happy?" In answer, Ryan lifted her off her feet, spinning her gently as joy overwhelmed him. "Happy doesn't begin to cover it," he said when he set her down. his voice rough with emotion. "I get to be there from the beginning this time, for everything." "For everything," Lauren agreed, reaching up to touch his face. "No more missed moments. No more separation. Just us, together the way we were always meant to be." As they continued their dance, Ryan held his wife close, marveling at the journey that had brought them here. From a chance meeting at a charity gala, through heartbreak and separation, to a fateful encounter at a fall festival, and now to this perfect moment of promise and new beginnings. In the years that followed, the Montgomery family thrived. Their daughter, Grace Eleanor Montgomery, was born on a crisp November morning, welcomed with joy by her parents and adored by her older siblings. Ryan scaled back his work commitments to be present for soccer games, school plays, and family vacations to the Grand Canyon and Disney World. Lauren continued her nursing career part-time, finding fulfillment both in her professional work and in the home they had built together. Eleanor became the grandmother who baked apple pies and told stories of Ryan's childhood, making up for lost time with endless hugs and love. She sold her grand estate in Greenwich and moved into a smaller house nearby, proving with actions far louder than words that she was truly sorry for the past and committed to the future of their family. Most importantly, every night the twins would run into their parents' room for goodnight kisses, calling out, "Mommy, Daddy," with pure joy, little Grace toddling behind them as soon as she could walk. Ryan would pull Lauren close under the covers and whisper, "Thank you for giving me the family I never knew I needed." Lauren would smile and reply, "We found our way back to each other, all of us," because in the end, the greatest legacy wasn't the billions in the bank. It was the voices filling their home with laughter, a marriage built on truth and forgiveness, and the quiet knowledge that love, even after years apart, could create the most beautiful home of all. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe for more timeless love tales with Mr. Harrison. What story would you like to hear next?